this is 9/16. So we're talking about factors that could affect plant growth. So the amount of light it's getting, sunlight. What else?
How much water?
How much water something is getting, absolutely.
Weather.
Go ahead. Okay, weather in general. So what other than the amount of water would be covered under weather?
If it's outside or inside.
Okay, so what factors would change with outside or inside? Temperature. Okay, so we've got sunlight, we've got water.
What about the soil, like the nutrition in the soil?
Good one. So temperature, the soil that it's in.
Chemicals, you can use any what kind of chemicals you use.
Okay, if you're adding any chemicals to the plant, like if you're adding fertilizers, and you said outside or inside, I'm going to go ahead and put that. I wanted you to narrow it down, but we'll take the broad one too. What else? Who hasn't given me one? What else could affect a plant's growth? Okay, in terms of what? Okay, so like where in the country, where on the world, where on the planet it's located, which kind of ties back to your weather thought. So what factors are all, you've got a lot of factors contained in there. What all things would change between a plant here and a plant in a desert in Arizona? Okay, how much water? We've got that. So I'm going to put location. But yeah, that changes how much water, how much sunlight, what the temperature is. What else could affect a plant's growth? So here's what we have, because you can't see this on the board. We have sunlight, water, temperature, soil, chemicals, whether it's outside or inside, location on the planet. What else? Anything that we are not covering here? I might say size of the pot, size of the container it's in. Type of plant, yeah. So we have to compare the same kinds of plants. Okay, so I'm going to put down size.
Competition by other ones.
Okay, competition, if there's other stuff growing in the pot with it. So that's a good one. Size of container, pot, competition, type of plant. We would not expect a blade of grass to grow to be 8 feet tall. We would expect a tree to do that. We would expect a vine to do that. We wouldn't expect a dandelion to do that. Okay, what other things can you think of that might affect the plant's growth? So if you haven't got these on your brainstorming section, you should be writing them down. Yes, sir? Oh, like if something else comes along and eats it. So what might prey on the plant? How would we put that? How about just getting eaten? And that could even be something as small as bugs that are eating the leaves. It could be something like a deer that comes along and eats it. Okay, that's a good one. Anything else to add? Anything else? How many of you have participated in gardening? Okay. Anything else here that you should add? Yes, ma'am. Okay, so the grower. What how could that change things?
Because if the person who gets a lot of stuff to get to water it,
Okay.
the person who drowns the plant
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so how responsible the gardener is, in essence. If they're remembering to do the same things that the plant needs every day. Okay, anything else that we need to cover here? Okay, hold on. Let's do one at a time. So, like, if it just dies, what fact? Okay, let's just write it down because we're brainstorming, so we're not throwing anything out. If the plant dies, that definitely affects its growth, doesn't it? Okay, what were you going to say, Bryce? Hold on. We'll say freezing. Yeah, because plants actually do have what look a lot like pipes inside them. It's called the vascular system. And like a tree, oh my gosh, a tree moves, I forget how many gallons of water per minute up the trunk. I mean, it's an astounding number. So yeah, in essence, it's like plumbing inside plants that moves water from the roots up into the leaves. So yeah, if the plant freezes, if it can't transport water or nutrients. Okay, what else? Anything else we need to add? Okay, if we think that we've got this covered, let me explain what we're going to do. And this has already kind of been hit. Somebody said, like, if we add chemicals to a plant, that could affect its growth. Now, are all effects positive? Are all effects negative? No. So effect can mean something good or something bad. You know, if somebody bakes you a cake, that affects how your day is going in a good way. If somebody punches you in the gut at lunch, that affects how your day is going in a bad way. So what we're going to look at, you've got a list in step 2 of some chemicals. And somebody mentioned that chemicals could affect the growth of a plant. So we have a list right there of some different chemical solutions. And you are going to, you and one partner, we'll have even numbers once we get everybody back, I think. You and a partner are going to be given 10 plants, okay, to care for. And you're going to choose one of these chemicals to do a controlled experiment on, okay? You will set up a control group. You'll set up some experimental groups. You're going to set up controlling for all the variables. You're going to make a hypothesis. You're going to form a hypothesis. You're going to make a prediction. And you're going to test this over the course of, it should take about 6 weeks. And you're going to collect data throughout. Okay? So all those words that we've been discussing, you're going to do something that uses them. Have any of you ever salted a plant? So let's talk about table salt. I have some right here, sodium chloride. You've probably sprinkled it on your popcorn or your corn or your French fries or whatever. What does it do to plants? Does anybody actually have any experience with this? Has anybody actually made an observation, gotten information from their senses about what salt does to a plant? Okay, that's fine. You wouldn't have a lot of reason to. You would not have a lot of reason to. So, before we can even start to think about what salt might do to a plant, what do we need? We need a lot of data. I mean, we're sitting here saying, I have no idea what salt's going to do to a plant. So if we just say, well, I think salt will make a plant grow bigger. I think salt will make a plant greener. I think salt will kill a plant. We're just guessing. There's nothing behind it. There's no basis whatsoever. So how could we get some initial data? Does data, can we look at other people's data, is the question I'm asking. Can you, in essence, ask someone else about their experience? Yes. So when you're starting to get information, you know, it doesn't all have to be observational. When you're starting to get information in a situation like this, you can also look at other people's observations. You can look at other people's experiences. So you can look at, we would call it a literature search. What is literature? What is literature? You have a book probably somewhere that says literature on it. What's literature? Yeah, literature is the written word. It's books, it's articles, it's newspapers. When we talk in science about literature, we usually mean articles. We mean studies and experiments that other people have done that they've written about and shared. So we'll talk about doing a review of the scientific literature. So I have a publication right here, and this is from Oh, the Extension Service. It's University of Cambridge Extension Service. And it's called Salt of the Earth, How Do Plants Cope? And it's about what salt does to plant growth. Now, it's written by somebody at a university. It's not written by like my grandma, your Uncle Joe. And it's got a series of references in the back that are other university scientists. Does that sound like it's a good source? It's not a Wikipedia article, I'll tell you that. It's a valid, good, pretty complete source. Now, it's also 3 pages long, and it's also a little bit dense. So it's going to take some work to read through it. But can you look at something like this to get information about what salt is going to do to a plant? Yeah. This would be a useful article. Could we do the same thing for vinegar? Yeah. And I actually have articles, they're sitting on the printer right now, about vinegar and baking soda. Could we find some about things like potassium nitrate or magnesium chloride? Yeah. So before you can even make a hypothesis in this case, you've got to get a lot more data. And this time, this data... Okay, so what we're going to do, you are going to partner with one other person. We're gonna end up starting this, well, I'll tell you what, partner with one other person. You're going to pick one of those solutions on that list. Okay? Now, I'm going to limit it in terms of how many groups can do the same solution in each class. So like not everybody can do sodium chloride, not everybody can do vinegar. So get yourself a first choice and a second choice for this. And then I'm going to hand you some articles, and we're going to walk through the process of getting information from a complicated piece of text. Okay? Because this is something that's a little bit above what you've done in the past. So right now what I want you to do is find your partner, sit down with them, and I'll be back with the article on salt. So we're going to have to control all of those variables. So you're all going to be given the same size container. Well, that eliminates that as an issue. Okay, we will pick this up tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, folks.